This program is being provided by the 15 members of the Vancouver Educational Telecommunications Consortium, TV, etc.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of In the Know. I'm Jessica Moss.
And I'm Coleen Jamison. Today we're taking a look back at the year that was in Vancouver Public Schools and sharing some of our favorite stories.
First, one of the biggest moments of the year for the future of Vancouver's kids. Voters said yes to 2 school funding levies. The first for maintenance and operations passed with nearly 65% of voters saying yes. It replaced the expiring M&O levy. The second levy voters approved was for technology. It also had a wide margin of support, almost 62%. The M&O levy makes up about 19% of the district's budget and pays for things like teachers, textbooks, sports, buses, and so on. The technology levy will put new computers and mobile devices in schools and will pay for teacher training.
While it says technology levy, it's really not about the devices, and it's so much more about the adaptive skills that students will need for the 21st century.
In the spring, students and teachers began to receive their new technology and got right to work with them in the classroom.
In November, parents and community members got a chance to see new technology in action at the annual We Learn Technology Showcase. Held at Skyview High School, hundreds of people checked out demonstrations from students and teachers.
Throughout the year, we've had stories on the role technology plays in our schools. In August, We Learn correspondent Mark Ray will host a special episode of In the Know, showing you the highlights from the past year. That show will air on Comcast Channel 28 and on the district YouTube page. That's youtube.com/VanSDTV.
Kids are getting hands-on experience with technology at the city's newest school, Vancouver iTech Preparatory. iTech Prep opened its doors in September at 2 campuses, with middle schoolers at the Jim Parsley Center and high schoolers at the WSU Vancouver campus. It's a STEM school, science, technology, engineering, and math. A key feature at iTech Prep is the one-to-one laptop program, which assigns each student a computer for the year.
I'm really excited about it. I really like having technology, and I think it's a good way to save resources and be able to have our textbooks or our assignments online, and I'm excited for that.
You have a very useful learning tool with you at all times, so it's very helpful.
iTech Prep had only 6th, 7th, and 9th graders this year, but will continue to expand until it's a full 6th through 12th grade school.
The 351-acre campus includes 2 ponds, acres of forest, and
Students at iTech Preparatory were national semifinalists for a project that combines science and video production. The students competed in a contest sponsored by Samsung. They submitted a project they'd been working on, studying the effects of the WSU Vancouver campus on nearby Mill Creek. iTech Prep was one of 75 schools out of the nearly 1,600 schools that entered to be named a semifinalist.
A McLaughlin 8th grader steps out of the box and takes 3rd place in a national essay contest. Instead of writing an essay, Utsav Kapoor made a video titled "How Engineers Make Life Awesome." That video won him 3rd place in the Project Lead the Way National Engineers Week Student Essay Contest. Utsav takes Gateway to Technology classes at Mac and is thinking about becoming an engineer.
A pair of filmmakers from Vancouver School of Arts and Academics earned national honors from C-SPAN. Anna James and Gabrielle Gachet made a video essay about the rising cost of attending college.
I am pretty involved right now in the college application process. I've looked at a lot, and I've been really astounded by the costs.
It's a really big thing that focuses on, our future and where we're going to go, and it's really like some of the most important years of our lives, no pressure, but.
Their film was chosen for honorable mention out of nearly 2,000 entrants. C-SPAN sent its traveling bus to VSAA to congratulate Anna and Gabrielle, who also won a small cash prize. Another VSAA student earns an even higher honor for his art.
Senior Miles Hewitt was selected as a National Poetry Ambassador by the White House. Nick Voll has the story.
Miles Hewitt has a way with words. Editor of the school newspaper, the president of the Young Democrats of Clark County, and a songwriter, Miles is a communicator. But his true medium is poetry.
This started as a love poem, and it still is, but now I am finding it hard to remember why I am here.
Miles is a poetry ambassador, chosen from among thousands of students by the White House. Like a good poem, Miles' story builds slowly. First, he won a regional competition.
I thought, oh wow, that's really cool.
Then a national competition.
That really amazed me.
And then, in late August, the phone rang.
I actually received a call that I'd won, and I was going to be one of 5 national student poets. I was going to be representing 11 Western states, which was incredible.
This past fall, Miles took part in the Library of Congress National Book Festival and the Dodge Poetry Festival, the so-called Super Bowl of poetry. These events gave him the chance to be around the literary elite.
And I feel like one of the most important parts about being a writer is just taking in other people's writing all the time and learning how to draw from that, how to emulate that and make it your own.
His writing teacher at Vancouver School of Arts and Academics, Jennifer Hochhalter, says his willingness to learn sets him apart.
It's really neat to see someone who's so mature and able to take feedback and criticism and just keep going. And he's just like he's like this big sponge.
And then, in December, the biggest thrill of Miles' life, a trip to the White House.
We thought we would probably meet the First Lady, which would be amazing in its own right.
But here came the twist in Miles' story.
We're sitting in this room, and next door we hear this gigantic laugh, and we know it's his laugh, and we're all going, oh my God, oh my God. So then we all get invited into the room, and the president shakes each of our hands, and I'm the only guy among the national student poets, and so after he shook all the girls' hands, and then he shakes my hand, and he says, hey man.
For a young Democrat, the 3-minute meeting with the most powerful man in the world was a dream come true.
He's kind of my hero, so it was really cool to meet him, even for just such a very brief time.
The White House isn't far from Miles' goals.
A dream job for me would be like writing speeches for the president, because that would fuse the writing that I really love with the politics that I also really love. So
I think that with his tenacity and his maturity and his drive, he can do anything he wants.
In his last few months of high school, as he looks toward the future, Miles can also reflect on what he's achieved in the last few months.
These were the first poems I'd ever written, and I submitted, and here I am. So I'm really living proof that you never know what might happen if you submit something that you've created.
For In the Know, I'm Nick Vole.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Miles is also a musician and was featured on an episode of the school district's music show called Out Loud. He performed 3 original songs. You can see his episode on the district's YouTube page, youtube.com/VanSDTV. Just look for the Out Loud playlist. 2 band students at Skyview join a professional level marching band and earn themselves a national championship. Dylan Allis and Kyle Mowry marched with the Oregon Crusaders Drum and Bugle Corps this summer. They joined other top young musicians, mostly from Oregon. The band trained for 12 straight days, sunup to sunset, before embarking on a 15-state tour, culminating with the national championships in Indiana, which they won. Both Dylan and Kyle say it was an unforgettable experience.
I was able to be around a group of people who are wanting to be as good at music as I do, and inspired to do as good as they can for an entire summer. It was amazing.
It's made me be a lot more serious about music. Like, I knew I was serious about music before, but now it's kind of narrowed it down to, yeah, this is what I want to do for my career, because it's just like, it's made me love it even more.
Dylan, a trombonist, also competed in the national solo competition, and he won that too. Vancouver Public Schools won a number of state championships in sports this year.
The first came in girls soccer, thanks to a perfect season at Columbia River High School. The team finished with 19 wins, 2 ties, and 0 losses. Much credit goes to a strong defense and a team-first attitude established by first-year head coach Philemon Afenagus. River won the Class 3A championship game in rainy weather against Mount Spokane High School.
At the end of the game, it was just like a weight lifted off our shoulder, like all that work we accomplished something. It felt really exciting.
Only 5 seniors graduated from this team, so Coach Afenegas and the players we spoke to believe they have a good chance at repeating next season.
Columbia River swimmer Monica Bottleberg won her 2nd straight state championship in swimming. In the 200-meter final, Monica pulled away from her competition early to win by a large margin. This is the 2nd straight year she won this event, and she's only a junior.
All my hard work's starting to pay off, and it feels pretty good. It's fun to win for the school. I don't know. That's what I love about high school swimming. It's all about the team.
Monica finished a close 2nd in the 100-meter to one of her rivals. Despite the loss, her time qualified her for the Junior Nationals, which she will not be competing in. Her 200-meter time also earned her All-American consideration.
A Skyview bowler wins the state championship in spectacular fashion. Junior Madison Crockett is the Class 4A champion. Her score of 1,324 in 6 games was the highest ever in the history of the state competition. She knew she was in the lead heading into the last game, but that didn't prepare her for the thrill of victory.
It felt really, really great. It felt amazing. I was super excited and I was super happy, and just a whole bunch of wonderful feelings just came and overwhelmed me at once, and I really didn't know how to react at first, but then it just kind of hit me and I just took it all in at once.
Madison's average over the tournament was a stunning 220 per game. To put that in perspective, a perfect game in bowling is a score of 300. So for most of us, 220 would be a career high, not an average. Madison is hoping to bowl in college and has already begun to look at schools.
That wasn't the end of the championships for Skyview. The girls' tennis team took home not 1, but 2 titles in the spring. The team took home the Class 4A Team Tennis Championship in the Tri-Cities. It was led by the doubles team of Macy Ballou and Christina Metz, whose 4th place finish gave Skyview the points it needed to win.
It was amazing. It was like we knew right then, and so it wasn't just for us, but it was for the team, and so it was a great feeling to know that we got it, not just for individually, but for the school as well. So.
In addition to the team victories, sophomore Sammy Hampton won her 2nd straight singles championship despite an arm injury that limited her ability to serve overhand.
At the same time, also in the Tri-Cities, the Skyview boys baseball team capped off a great season with its own state championship. The Storm completed its championship run with a wild game against South Kitsap. The teams combined for more than a dozen errors, but Skyview held on to win 8-5. State Player of the Year Ian Hamilton caught the final out, a pop fly to center field.
Before the out was even made, kids were running out of the dugout, and they're all excited and everything, running around. And on the replay of the game, you see gloves flying up before the ball's even caught, so it's pretty cool. I'm really excited.
Getting that last out to finally win state senior year was just incredible.
This was the first ever state championship for Skyview's baseball program.
Columbia River added another title in the spring. Golfer Chloe Bartek took home the Class 3A state championship. The senior won the tournament by 7 strokes, capping off an impressive high school career. It rained the entire time, and to make things worse, she squared off against last year's champion.
I was nervous the first couple, actually the first 6 holes, but after a while I got into a groove and I just started hitting it better and got on the green, made some putts, didn't make as many mistakes, and I was able to pull it out.
Chloe is a 3-time regional golfer of the year as named by the Columbian newspaper. She has a scholarship to play golf next year at Sacramento State. For the 2nd year in a row, the regional teacher of the year comes from Vancouver Public Schools.
Nick Voll introduces us to Eric Saueracker, math teacher extraordinaire.
Better and better and better until we're going to get that instantaneous.
It's a bit of an understatement to say that Eric Saueracker is enthusiastic about his job.
I'm a really bad person to be at a barbecue with or something, because people will be like, hey, so you like being a teacher? And I'm like, oh, hey, you got 20 minutes? Let me just tell you about this one right here.
The Hudson's Bay math teacher is the 2012 Regional Teacher of the Year for Southwest Washington. It's an honor that surprises absolutely no one at Hudson's Bay.
He's very bright, he's very funny, he's a kid magnet, they love him, and he's very well respected by his colleagues as well, because he just gets the job done
Mr. Saueracker is part of an evolving culture at Bay, one that pushes kids towards college and careers by encouraging them to push themselves and to take AP or college-level courses.
We're taking the achievement gap, the idea that a student's socioeconomic status is a determinant in their success, and we're kind of removing that factor from them and say, hey, we have 60% free and reduced lunch at Bay. That doesn't matter. Everybody here can walk out ready to go off to college or whatever they want to be doing.
Gabriel Norwood is in many ways a typical success story at Bay. A bright kid, but with average grades, he started improving, thanks in part to Mr. Saueracker.
He kind of he's like, you need to get into the class. He's like, you do really well. And then along with the other teachers. So yeah, he kind of pushes for kids that have the potential to do really well. He always pushes them to get into the class.
The math department combined 2 lower-level classes into one to make it possible for students to take college-level courses. And now, more students than ever are taking advanced math classes.
It's heating up. It's getting harder, but future looks good. I don't know. It's looking pretty good.
Mr. Saueracker is quick to deflect the credit.
I know that there are plenty of other teachers in this building who are fantastic instructors.
But his students say he deserves this honor.
He makes class fun. He gets his point across, he gets the information across really well to the students.
He cares a lot and kind, yeah.
I really enjoy it. I think that I express that pretty well to the students because it's such a blast to be in here teaching math, particularly at the AP level. It's very hard conceptually and you really get to push these kids and they're okay with that.
For In the Know, I'm Nick Vole.
2 educators from Vancouver School of Arts and Academics are recognized for their outstanding work. Fern Tresvant was named the Washington State Dance Teacher of the Year by the Washington Alliance for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. Also honored at VSAA is its principal, James O'Banion. He was voted Distinguished High School Principal of the Year for 2012-2013. The award is for the 3A, 4A Greater St. Helens League area.
Vancouver implements a new way to evaluate how its teachers are doing. The district is changing the old pass-fail system, adopting a 4-tiered approach to be deployed over the next 4 years. The new system is based on the University of Washington's 5 dimensions of learning and teaching. As opposed to a black and white system, it allows for nuance and improvement.
You don't have to focus on, I want to be a better teacher. You can focus on, I want to improve the use of purpose in my classroom. I want to improve student engagement in my classroom.
Working with their principals and coworkers, teachers develop plans to improve their weak areas and are given the time to get it all done. Well, I think a lot of us do this. We often associate certain parts of town with its neighborhood schools.
And few schools in Vancouver are more beloved than Columbia River. Nick Vole shows us why as River celebrates its 50th birthday.
It's like herding cats for a photographer as he tries to convince the student body to form the letters CRHS at the 50-yard line. 50 is a big number at Columbia River High School as it celebrates half a century this year. Built in 1962, River has seen a lot of changes throughout the years, but one thing has remained the same.
Once a chieftain, always a chieftain. I guess there's that saying here at Columbia River.
These students are relatively new to being chieftains, but that's not the case for Michelle Buss.
I've been a chieftain since I was a baby.
Michelle's dad, Jim Chapman, was a teacher at Columbia River.
My dad started teaching here in 1970 and I was born in 1970.
She remembers running up and down the halls.
I was also a cheerleader when I was 4. The wrestling cheerleaders at the time made me a cheerleading outfit. So that was my only time being a cheerleader in my life, but it was really fun.
Michelle graduated from River in 1988. Now, Michelle is a teacher there and the track coach. Her dad is still around coaching tennis, and Michelle still uses what he taught her every day.
Having high expectations of the students and, modeling what excellence really is.
Sophomore Abby Bennett is also a second-generation chieftain, joining her mom and dad.
I don't know, it's just kind of cool to be in the same school that they were in, how many years ago?
A few
years ago.
Her father, Dave Bennett, graduated from River in 1983. And now, as a teacher at River, Dave is seeing something remarkable.
I can think of a lot of staff who currently teach here who were students here, a lot of students who have come through in the last 5 years that I've been here whose parents I went to school with and their parents went to school with. And that's, something special about this school.
At River, it seems to boil down to just one word.
It feels a lot like a family.
It means family to me.
It does feel like family.
So if you think of the school that way, as a family, these students crowding together on the field aren't just spelling out the name of their school. They're posing for the largest family portrait of their lives.
We have a saying here, and it's true, because even after you leave River, once a chieftain, always a chieftain.
For In the Know, I'm Nick Vole.
As part of the 50th anniversary celebration, River inducted its first ever class into its Athletic Hall of Fame. Among the inductees were state champion athletes and coaches from the past decades. The Hall of Famers were honored in front of a packed house between boys and girls basketball games in the winter. River also celebrated its past with a fashion show. More than 200 people crammed into the Commons at Jefferson Middle School for a tea party. On stage, students modeled fashions while pop music blasted from the different eras Columbia River has seen. The event was a fundraiser for the senior class's drug and alcohol-free graduation party. It raised more than $6,000.
Thanks to an incredible gift from the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools, kindergartners at 6 schools got a jump start last summer and again this year.
As Helen Raptis reports, the students are seeing an impact now and possibly down the road.
Counting hats on. Let's start with 1.
Nothing looks unusual about this class full of curious 5-year-olds until you check the calendar. These kindergartners are learning about sounds and letters nearly a month before the first day of school. They're here thanks to a $100,000 grant from the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools. The grant expanded the district's Jumpstart program to 6 schools for 4 full weeks.
A lot of the students that are in Jumpstart have not ever set foot in a school. This gives them the opportunity to understand what's expected in school.
Nowadays, compared to 15 or 20 years ago, kindergarten is so different.
Academic standards have risen, and among other goals, students are expected to be able to read by the end of the year.
I have 21 kids in my Jumpstart class, and less than half came in writing their names. And about that percentage of parents didn't know that was even an expectation. Now, in day 7 of Jumpstart, I have 2 kids who are unable to write their name, which is pretty impressive. They can't.
Educating parents about what's expected of their children and how they can help is almost as important as teaching the kids. Moms and dads play an important role for a child's learning. Getting kids started early can have long-term ramifications.
Kindergarten sets the groundwork for their entire academic career, so the stronger we can make those building blocks for them in the beginning in kindergarten, my hope is that the more successful they will be all the way through their academic career.
It's a gift, and it's a gift to the teachers, to the families, to the students, and it sets them off on the right foot for their path of many years ahead of school.
For In the Know, I'm Helen Raptis.
Vancouver Public Schools adds family community resource centers to 3 more schools. Minnehaha, Hazeldale, and Lincoln Elementaries joined 8 other schools as FCRC schools. The centers provide families with resources the school just can't, connecting them to social service organizations, healthcare, classroom supplies, and more. The goal is to keep kids focused on their schoolwork and not distracted by a lack of basic needs.
Skyview High School does its part to help students in need. It opened its own care closet, a place where kids can go for food, personal hygiene products, and clothing. Students at Skyview led a donation drive to stock the closet after this ribbon cutting ceremony in the spring.
Students at Jefferson Middle School commemorated Veterans Day in style. In 2 huge assemblies, a crowd of parents, students, veterans, and community members learned about vets with a connection to the school. Students had been learning in class about the armed forces beforehand. Choir, band, and orchestra groups performed patriotic songs as a way to say thanks.
The most distinguished, most honorable Dr. Robert M. Gates.
Former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates gives the Marshall Lecture at Hudson's Bay High School. General Gates addressed a packed house and talked about his service to our country. After his speech, he greeted a smaller group over at Marshall Elementary. The school and the event are named after General George Marshall.
A major art project at VSAA moves one step closer to completion. Workers put up 3 panels on the side of the building as part of the Confluence project. The project honors the Columbia River as a place where people have gathered for centuries. VSAA has been working on its contribution to the project for 9 years now and hopes to finish 3 more panels in the coming year.
Skyview High School had its own installation, a homemade wind turbine. Senior Rebecca Lehman built it for the International Science and Engineering Fair. The turbine wasn't allowed to be hooked up to the school's electricity system for safety reasons, but if it were, it would be putting power back into the grid.
More than 100 students participated in Skyview's annual SMT Challenge Day. Students had just one day to build a device that would roll down a ramp, fly across a gap, land on a grind rail, and stop in a landing zone. The goal is to get students to apply physics and engineering theory with a practical application.
The VPS TV studio show Science documented the results of the Challenge Day in an episode this spring. It's available on the district's YouTube page. Science earned its first ever regional Emmy Award this year for a segment on the scientific work of Leonardo da Vinci. The Emmy is one of the highest awards in all of television.
Elementary schools all over Vancouver celebrate the joy of reading with the annual Green Eggs and Ham Breakfast. Parents join their children in the school cafeteria to eat a morning meal and share books. This particular event was at Harney Elementary. Of course, the Green Eggs and Ham Breakfast is based on the classic Dr. Seuss book, which is why you see so many funny hats here. The food was provided by Beach's Restaurant, which always supports this event.
Students at Harney not only ate green eggs this year, they also learned how to cook them. In an after-school program, a nurse from Peace Health and other volunteers showed kids how to prepare healthy meals. Of course, lesson number 1 was how to crack an egg.
Culinary arts students from Fort Vancouver High School get a cooking lesson from the executive chef for the Seattle Seahawks. The students visited the kitchen at the Seahawks practice facility in Renton. The Hawks' Mac McNabb showed the students how to make his turkey meatballs and answered questions about what it's like to be a professional chef.
I thought it was really cool. I've never seen something like this, and I think it sounds like it's such a cool job that he has, being able to cook for a whole football team, and it sounds like it's a huge load of work to do.
I hope that the students learned about another type of job you can have in food service. They've learned there's a lot of diversity in the job market, and this is just one more opportunity that they can pursue.
The students got to take the meatballs home with them for an event the next day at Fort.
That event was a heart screening fair, a collaboration between the school's medical magnet program and community partners. Students went through a battery of tests to determine their heart health. The goal is to prevent sudden deaths from undetected cardiac problems.
We lose anywhere between 4,000 and 7,000 kids a year in this country to sudden cardiac arrest. If you put it in perspective, that's a child 1 every 3 days in a public school in this country dies from sudden cardiac arrest.
For more information on how you can set up a free screening for your child, go to the Quinn Driscoll Foundation website. The website's address is quindriscollfoundation.org.
An annual tradition rolls down Main Street, Vancouver, the Patty Hoke Parade. Students from Howe Elementary mixed in with classic cars, marching bands, and community groups. Each class gave a presentation to judges about a theme they studied and earned prizes back at school. This was the 22nd year of the parade. The VPS TV studio covered the parade in its entirety, and you can see our half-hour special on our YouTube page.
The year's other big parade rolled through the historic Vancouver National Site. Third graders from around the city participated in the annual Children's Cultural Parade. Each student studied his or her own personal cultural heritage and represented it with posters, costumes, and songs. Local marching bands and the National Guard also helped out. Parents and community members lined the parade route to cheer on their students. Well, that just about does it for us. We want to thank you for watching.
And of course, a whole new season of In the Know is on the horizon as we start the new school year. Until then, I'm Coleen Jamison.
And I'm Jessica Moss. We'll see you in September.
This program is being provided by the 15 members of the Vancouver Educational Telecommunications Consortium, TV, etc.